Good morning, everyone. Just finished an early morning workout in my home gym over here with my little heater that only makes it, let's see how cold it is in here, a warm 54 degrees. Well, it warmed up from 50 degrees when I started an hour and 20 minutes ago. Anyway, I wanted to jump on and do a Facebook Live talking about a conversation that we had with someone that was looking into Move Now University. So just to give you a quick heads up, we have a link, demo.movenowu.com, where you can watch a 30-minute demo, and then it connects you with a text message system that connects you with me and my doctor support staff. It's a pretty cool system because it allows us to just get back to you right away, answer questions. You know, if you don't want to chat on text, you say, hey, take me off, I don't want to talk, but whatever, it's no big deal. But a lot of people have great questions that can help you and us figure out pretty quickly if these systems are applicable for you or if it's what you're looking to do in your practice. So it kind of cuts through all the BS so that you can just get straight down to it to see, is this something to invest time and energy in or not? So a conversation that I saw this morning at, 5:15 a.m. when I was getting ready to start working out and I was checking that little app. It was a doctor talking about that she said something to the extent of, hey, I'm looking to dial in my functional rehab systems. I'm looking to dial in my functional rehab, but I already have all the systems in place. And she listed that she's working with a communication coach that is very noteworthy, that works with our team as well, and has set systems for corrective work, for curve correction primarily. And my reply to this, or I at least wanted to do this on a Facebook Live to explain this to everyone, is that no matter what systems you have that you do in your practice, our functional movement, clinical, and procedural system program is not to wipe out anything and everything you've done before and start from scratch. It's not to do that, okay? However, there are key things that are needed on key times or days in a new patient timeline that if you don't do them, the need for you to backpedal and experience grief later on in the patient's care go up exponentially. Meaning, when you're adding in functional rehab into your clinic, whether you're already doing curve correction, traction in office, postural corrective exercises, or if you're just a straight adjustment only clinic, or if you're a clinic that already does some level of rehab and you're just looking to have different levels of rehab, keep in mind, the reason that our systems in Move Now University work is because they are clinically sound, they are comprehensive, and there's no substitute for the time that it takes to coach a person, take them through the process, make sure they understand their progressive exercises, make sure that they ascend through the progressions and not just do the same redundant basic foundational exercise over and over again for a couple of months. All of those things are completely necessary to attain a great clinical result. Now, because of that, you're asking someone to do something that's outside of their comfort level. They're likely going to be exercising and taking a little bit more time in their visit in your office than they're accustomed to. To prevent them from burning out and bailing out of care early on or having objections or saying, can I just do this at home or whatnot, there's certain systems that we found that you need to have in place to be 10 steps ahead of their potential objection. Those things include performing a movement assessment on the second visit on day 2, not on day 1. It's too much stuff to do on day 1. Clearly communicating with a patient, giving them options in their care very early on so they can choose how they want you to take care of them, which I'll tell you about 98% of the patients are going to choose to correct and address the root cause of the problem and to explore going through a corrective program. So I'm not saying to give the choice for the illusion of choice. I'm saying to give the choice because when it's clear and honest and sincere communication and you lay it out for them, most people see the value and they choose to get things fixed. Now, I'm not saying that concept is completely unique to what we do. I'm sure there's other systems that have a communication system just like that. and granted, right now I'm speaking broadly for any chiropractors or students or whomever that have been exposed to any communication system out there. Okay, so movement assessment on day 2, lay out and give the patient the options of choice very early on before you put together some sort of structured plan. And then once someone commits to care, we have what's called an exercise orientation. Very important. That is the exercise therapist version of like a doctor financial and clinical plan laying out process. So on day 3, we go through what's called the FROF, which is the formal report of findings. So it's like a financial visit. That's on day 3. On day 4, and on day 3, that's where we explain all of the clinical game plan. We answer questions for the patient and really help them secure, understand why they're there and what they're doing. Lay out metrics of how we're going to compare and check in on their progress, because what gets measured gets managed. So we measure their progress. We lay that out on day 3 on how that's going to work over the course of the next 12 weeks on average. We even lay out what's going to happen after 12 weeks and how that person can either continue to be seen somewhat aggressively or transition more to a wellness model of care, and what that looks like over the next year after that first phase of 3 months. So all of that's laid out, some of it in more detail and some of it just future pacing and briefly touching on things that are going to be important for someone to have in the back of their mind that you're going to remind them on periodically throughout their care so they don't forget. Okay, day 4 though, day 4 is very important. That's the exercise orientation. Now the exercise therapist has that same level of connection with the patient on day 4 to lay out the successful launch of their exercise in-house. Okay, there's resources that they get access to which are important. They need access to what's called the 12-week transformation, which is an online exercise library, and also just habit forming, natural and healthy protocols and tips and do's and don'ts over the next 12 weeks. The things that pretty much every chiropractor would want their patients to learn in this sort of clinical setting. That's something that they get access to. That's going to help them navigate through this in-office approach with a out-of-office resource that they can turn to. That's day 4. Day 5, there's a goals visit. The doctor meets with the patient briefly, reviews everything that they've gone over briefly, but really dials in on what that patient should be doing at home and what type of expectation they should have. So we actually set measurable, tangible goals, how much to improve their movement assessment score, how far to get them through the belt system of functional movement, how much of a postural change or curve change we should expect, and then most importantly, the action steps that the patient needs to take of how many times they should be engaging in this at home outside the office, how to track it in their journal, because there's also a journal that they bring into the clinic, how to use the journal, how our team can map out for them the road to yellow belt or the road to blue belt. So we can show them, here are all the protocols that you're going to be learning over the next 12 weeks. And we actually encourage them to go online inside of our exercise library, watch some of the videos of the protocols that they're going to learn that week before they learn them, so that when they come into the office, they're not just hearing about it for the first time, but they're hearing about it for the second time and the third time, which is going to increase the likelihood that they're going to understand that protocol. They're going to get more out of it. They're going to be able to fine tune all the little cues and coaching of someone watching them do it versus them just watching a video. Okay. So those things, those pieces are key. And so it doesn't matter what systems you use, how great your communication is, all this. When you put functional rehab into your existing program, you need these additional pieces to help track and navigate this process. Okay. And mind you, the reason that we put all this stuff in place is because, I can just share my story. I started off in Gonstead, segmental approach, getting great results with patients, wanted to do more for them. Learned about curve correction and chiropractic biophysics, went to a bunch of seminars, got advanced certified in 2012 or 13. Okay, it's kind of fuzzy now, but I think it was end of 12, maybe early 13. All right, then realized after applying those two things in combination, there was still something missing, and I've always been a fan of exercise and movement, so I wanted to address functional movement, functional rehab. Traveled the country, talked to different gurus out there, went to seminars, did as much training and digging as I could to find something that was already suited for chiropractic. There was nothing really tailored for chiropractic, especially for this model of care, doing corrective care. So we developed systems for our clinic. And why did I do that? Because I felt like I still had this burning desire inside of me that I wasn't doing the best for my patients. And I wanted to be a more well-rounded clinical and encouragement and coaching and help develop and build new habits. I mean, like I wanted to actually transform people's lives, and I felt like there was pieces that were missing. And the solution that we found that works really awesome for our clinic and our patients, and now there's tons of clinics all around the world that follow these same systems. So a lot of people seem to think that these things look good on the surface, and then they implement them and they give us feedback of how well they work. Is that these other clinics have also jumped on board following these systems, because they too desire to have not just a better clinical approach for their patients, but they see the benefit in all of these accessory automations and resources and things that are needed to really speak to an individual, to keep them engaged, to keep them coming back, to keep them actually following through. Because you can have the best clinical system in the world, but if your patients don't follow through with it, if they don't engage, then how useful is that? Not so much. How successful were you at transforming their life? Not really all that much, if they don't follow through, right? So they have to follow through. And that's where these other pieces are designed to get people to follow through and to engage. And it's what makes it actually work. And it makes your life and your team's life, your staff's life easier in your clinic, because everyone knows that patients have already learned certain things, they're educated on things, they have resources, and they are now not left, just like out to dry, wondering where to go and what to do and wandering. Instead, it's very clear. They have the resources. You know that things have been covered with them, and they are set basically on this path to success. All right. So anyway, check out our demo.movenowyou.com. Again, just to recap on this, no matter what systems you use, our program doesn't mean you have to replace everything, but there are key pieces along the way in a new patient or existing patient journey that need to be dialed in for the sanity of your team, for the success of the patient, for the clinical success, for all of that. It's been tried and tested and vetted, and that's what this program is about. It's not just a way to do a movement assessment and how to understand what it means and how to assign correctives. That's a piece of it. It's a big piece, but that's a piece of it. I would say an equally big or bigger piece is how to keep people engaged. The documentation standpoint, the system standpoint, the communication, compliance, all of that. All of that is so huge, and no one else out there has put a system together like this that we've seen, so that's why we had to create it. And we're continuing to develop and refine and improve, even though it's pretty darn good as it works right now, but I'm always looking for improvement. I can't stay stagnant, so there's little things that we will build out and add to the program as time goes on. Like, for example, we just added a level 4 assessment for upper and lower differential diagnosis of extremities. Didn't have that before. We added that a couple months ago. Anyway, I'm going to get back and finish my workout. Have a great day, everyone. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Check out our demo.movenowyou.com. You can connect directly with us through a little text app, so you can ask us questions, reach out directly. I will see the text. Our doctor support will see this text. We can get back to you and get you questions immediately. All right. And if you have more interest after that, you jump on a Zoom call with us and we share the screen. We can show you more things in the program, answer specific questions, you can give us a better idea of how you practice, and we can cut to the chase pretty quick to find out if this is a good fit for you and if you're a good fit for us. All right. Have a great day. Over and out.